Hello children, today I am going to teach Form 1 first term maths lesson parts of whole chapter 6 in page number 74. Fraction. We will discuss one example to understand fraction. Think of cutting a cake. If we cut the cake into 4 equal pieces, each piece is 1/4 of the cake. When 3 pieces are taken away, there is only 1 piece left. So, the fraction that is left is 1/4. Here you can write this shaded part as a fraction 3/4. 3/4 you can tell it as 3/4. So the bottom of the fraction tell you how many equal sized parts the whole quantity is divided into. The top number tells you how many of these parts are being considered. So this 3 is the numerator and the bottom number is the denominator of this fraction. There are 3 types of fraction: proper fractions, improper fractions and mixed numbers. Proper fractions, those are the fractions that are less than 1. For example, half, 2/3, 3/5. Those are the examples for proper fractions. Improper fractions, fractions that are bigger than 1, we can call it as improper fractions. For example, 5/3, 7/4 and 8/5. Mixed numbers are consist with one whole number and a fraction part. For example, 2.5, 3 and 2/3, 4 and 3/5. Equivalent fraction. Equivalent fractions are formed by multiplying or by dividing the top and the bottom of a fraction by the same number. For example, if you want to find one equivalent fraction for half, you can multiply the denominator and the numerator by the same number. Here I multiply that numerator and the denominator by 2. 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4. So I can get one equivalent fraction as 2/4. Next question, 2/3. You can get one equivalent fraction by multiplying any number. So that numerator and denominator I multiplied by number 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. So 6/9 is one equivalent fraction for 2/3. 1/4, if not 1/4, you can multiply those denominator and numerator by the same number. Here I multiply those two numbers by 4. So I got that equivalent fraction as 4/16. And also you can get equivalent fractions by dividing the same number. Here in first example, those denominator and numerator I divided by number 3. So I got one equivalent fraction as half. For 2/4, you can divide both numerator and denominator by 2 and get half as one equivalent fraction for 2/4. For next one, I divide both the numerator and denominator by 5 and I got one equivalent fraction as 1/3. Simplifying fractions. To get the lowest term of given fraction, we can cross out the common factors. For example, if you want to simplify 2/10, you can write the denominator and the numerator as a multiple of 2. 2 is the common factor for both denominator and the numerator. So, you can write 1 times 2 as 2, 5 times 2 as 10. So, you can cross out common factor number 2 and you can get 1/5 as the final answer. Next example, 3 is the common factor for both 3 and 5th. So you can write 3 as 1 times 3, 15th as 5 times 3. So you can cross out the common factor 3. Then you can get 1/5 as the simplest term of the given fraction. Introducing decimals. Instead of writing 1/10ths, 1/100ths and 1/1000ths, we can use decimal notation, which is much simpler. 456.273. In this number, there are 4 hundredths, 5 tenths, 6 units and 2 tenths, 7 hundredths, 3 thousandths. Questions. Write 46.72 in headed columns. In this decimal number, you can write as 4 tenths, 6 units, 7 tenths and 2 hundredths. Question B. Write 135.9 in headed columns. In here, 1 hundredths, 3 tenths, 5 units and 9 tenths. Changing fractions to decimal. You know 1/10th is equal to 0.1. 1/100ths is equal to 0.01. 1/1000ths is equal to 0.001. By using these three, you can write the answers for other question. 2 tenths. 1/10th is equal to 0.1, so you can write 2 tenths as 0.2. 9 tenths is equal to 0.9. Because of 100 is equal to 0.01, you can write 500 as 0.05. 1200 you can write as 0.12. 1/1000 is equal to 0.01, so you can write 400 as 0.04. 123 hundredths you can write as 0.123. Changing decimals to fractions. 0.5. You know 0.1 is equal to 1/10th. So you can write 0.5 as 5 tenths. A decimal can be changed to a fraction by using the number after the decimal point as the numerator and 10, 100, 1000 as the denominator. So 0.9 you can write as 9/10. Here 0.04 you can write as 4 hundredths. You know 4 is the common factor for those two numbers 4 and 100. So you can simplify by dividing numerator and the denominator by number 4. So final answer is 1/25. 0.25 you can write it as 25 out of 100. So you can simplify those two numbers by dividing 25. The answer is 1/4 or 1/4. 0.56 you can write 56 out of 100. You can simplify that fraction by dividing 4. It's 56 divided by 4 is 14. 100 divided by 4 is 25. By using this method, you can write the answers for these questions. Percentages. A percentage of a quantity describe how many of the 100 equal sized parts of the quantity are being considered. For example, we will take one figure with 100 equal parts. If I shade 20 from them, you can tell 20 out of hundreds are shaded. If not, you can tell it as 20% of them are shaded or 20 out of hundreds are shaded. So you know 20% means 20 out of 100. Then you can tell 30% means 30 out of 100. Changing between percentage and fractions. First example, 20% you want to write as a fraction. So 20% means 20 out of 100. But when you are writing it as a fraction, you want to give the simplest form of the fraction. So you can divide both denominator and numerator by 20. So you can get 1/5 as the final answer. Next example, 5%. 5% you can write as a fraction 5 out of 100. 5 out of 100 you can divide numerator and the denominator by number 5 and you can get the simplest answer as 120. 70%. 70% means 70 out of 100. Both denominator and numerator you can divide by 10 and you can get the simplest answer as 7/10. 90%. 90% means 90 out of 100. You can write the simplest answer by dividing both numerator and the denominator by 10. It's 9/10. By using this method, you can write the answers for these given questions. Changing between percentage and decimal. First example, 30%. If you want to write it as a decimal, first you want to write 30% as a fraction. 30% means 30 out of 100. So you can write it as a fraction. As the second step, you can simplify that fraction and you can make that denominator as 10. To make the denominator as 10, you can divide that both denominator and the numerator by 10 and you can get that fraction as 3/10. You know 1/10 tenths is equal to 0.1. So you can write 3 tenths as a decimal number 0.3. So 20%. 20% you can write 20 out of 100. To get the simplest form, you can divide both denominator and the numerator by 10 and you can get it as 2 tenths. 2 tenths you can write as a decimal number 0.2. 5%. 5% is 5 out of 100. You can directly write it as a decimal number 0.05. 70%. 70% means 70 out of 100 and you can divide 70 and 100 by 10 and you can get 7 out of 10. You can write it as a decimal number 0.7. 90%. 90 out of 100 you can simplify by dividing 10. 9 tenths. 9 tenths is equal to 0.9. Fraction of a quantity. First example, find 1/3 of 15 meters. To get the answer, you can write it as a multiple. 1/3 times 15 meters. You can multiply those numerators. 1 times 15, 15. Then that answer you have to divide by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5 meters. Next question, 40% of 100 meters. 40% you can write it as a fraction. 40 out of 100 of you can write as multiplication. 40 out of 100 times 100 meters. You can multiply 40 and 100. It's equal to 4,000. 4,000 you have to divide by 100 to get the answer. The answer is 40 meters. Now you can try to get the answers for these two questions. Find the value of 15% of 1 kilogram. So first you want to write 15% as a fraction. 15 out of 100. Then you can write 1 kilogram as 1000 gram. For the next step, you can multiply those two numbers. 15 times 1000 is 15,000. 15,000 you have to divide by 100. The answer is 150 grams. 25% of 1 meter. First you want to make that 20% as a fraction. 25% means 25 out of 100. Then you want to write 1 meter as 100 centimeters. Then you can multiply 25 times 100, 2500. You have to divide by 100. The answer is 25 centimeters. Comparing the size of fractions. Before comparing two fractions, we must change them into the same kind of fraction. That means we must find equivalent fractions that have the same denominator. First example, you want to make the denominator of the first fraction as 21. You can make 7 as 21 by multiplying 3. So you want to multiply both denominator and the numerator by 3. Then you can get the equivalent fraction as 15 21st. So they have the same denominators. You can get the greater number from the numerator. So you know 15 is the greater number, so you can put the answer as greater mark. For the next example, you want to make the denominator as 6. So you want to multiply a denominator and the numerator of the first fraction by 3, and you want to multiply the denominator and the numerator by 2 of the second fraction. So you can get it as 3/6 and 2/6. So you know half is greater than 1/3. Comparing the size of decimals. To decide which of the decimal is larger, look first at the number of units. Number 2. They are same. In unit place you can see number 2. They are same. Next, look at the number of tens. Number 5. So they also same. You can see number 5 is in tens place. Now finally, look at the number of hundreds. You can see 7 and 9. They are different. So you can select the greater number from those two numbers in hundred place. So you know 9 is the greater number, so you can write 2.59 is larger than 2.57. Fill in the blanks with greater or smaller mark. You have to compare these given decimals. First, you have to look at the tens place. 2 and 3. 3 is the greater number, so you can tell 32.4 is greater than 21.34. Next example, 1.05 and 1.15. You have to look at the unit place first. They are same. Then you can look at the number of tens. It's 0 and 1. 1 is greater than 0, so you can tell 1.15 is greater than 1.05. Question number C. 0.8 and 0.75. First you want to look at the number of units. They are same, and you can look at the number of tens, 8 and 7. From those two numbers, 8 is greater than 7. So you can tell 0.8 is greater than 0.75. Question D. 0.35 and 1.56. First you want to look at the number of units. It's 0 and 1. 1 is greater than 0. So you can tell 1.56 is greater than 0.35. 123.5 and 123.05. You want to select the greater number from those two numbers. First you want to select the number of 100. They are same, and you can move to the tens place. They are also same, and you can move to the units place. They also same. Then you can look at the number of tens. 5 and 0. 5 is greater than 0, so you can tell 123.5 is greater than 123.05. Now you can do the following exercises that I mentioned here. Thank you.